Welcome to Sandlot and the Crew, where Sandlot Radio Show meets Wrecking Yard Baseball and Softball. I'm your host, Will Kiger, aka Wrecking Yard Will. And here today we have a very special guest, AJ Schugel, former Major League player. Has a very interesting story on how he got to the big leagues. I would say it's quite unconventional, might be quite possibly the only person who's made it there in this manner. He's also fresh off playing in Dubai in the new Baseball United League, so we're very excited to talk to him about that, and then of course get into a little bit of his Sandlot story as a kid, where he actually grew up right down the street from our host Tad Powers, former minor league player and major league scout. So they have a lot of history. We actually had AJ's dad on the show, on the Sandlot Radio Show this past season. He's a former professional baseball player and current major league scout right now, doing a lot of great things in the game. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it over to Tad and let him do his thing.
Andrew John Schugel. AJ, thanks so much for being a guest on Sandlot and the Crew. Look at you all grown up.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. I still think I look pretty young, but
You do, dude. You really do. And Cade, Cade just got married, and that dude still looks like he's about 17.
if I shaved this, I'd look ugly but
You're,
younger.
get, you're getting carded for sure, AJ. But anyway, I've known you since you moved from Winter Haven, Florida to Colorado, and been watching you play since you were on the Stars traveling team with a bunch of kids that ended up being really good. You guys stayed together all through high school. Mountain Vista was a brand new high school in Colorado in Highlands Ranch when you started there. And that crew that you brought through there with you, man, there's 7 guys that went on and played college ball, which is kind of unheard of in Colorado or any high school for that matter.
I was definitely heard of in '07. Baseball is not near as big as it is now in Colorado for sure, but I mean they build them differently for sure. Everyone's throwing harder, and just crazy athletic now it seems like. But yeah, I mean for us to have the 7 guys continue playing after high school, and that was pretty special.
Now, another thing that was really cool, and I talked to your dad a lot about this before you went to Texas Tech right out of high school, and I'm a big advocate of JUCO before D1, and me and him went round and round about that, and you ended up at Texas Tech out of high school. Let's talk about that first year of college out of high school, because Texas Tech had a bunch of undersized guys, and somehow AJ didn't end up being one of the guys, so it was time to jump.
Yeah, I mean we could have a whole other segment on that 1 year and how that came about. I would agree. If someone asked me now, if it's 50-50, if you're all in on baseball, go play baseball, go to JUCO, unless you're a dude. But I wasn't. I never even visited Tech before I went down there. I signed there like 2 weeks before school started. So, looking back, I definitely would have went JUCO. I should have went JUCO probably. I don't want to say it was like a wasted year, but it is what it is now. And obviously, I got somewhere. It was the right got worked out at the end, but yeah, I would say JUCO, unless you're getting a full ride somewhere. But
Well, and you think about it too, out of high school, most guys aren't ready academically either. It's a big step to take on that workload and go to play D1, cover the academics. It's just a better way. Plus, no matter how you slice it, you're paying for 4 years of college, more than likely. Why not have 2 of them be less expensive? Where the JUCO, you can get some money, you can save your family a ton of money, you can get groomed, you can get more at bats. And in your case, you didn't pitch at all, end up being a major league pitcher. But man, you were a pretty good hitter in junior college.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if it's baseball, if that's what you want to do, I don't know how much the rules have changed between D1 and JUCO, but I mean, JUCO is baseball. I mean, you got school, but it's baseball, and you're getting a lot more reps, a lot more baseball stuff, then, some of those D1s now, I think the fall, they were limited, at least when I was there, on what they can and can't do. And yeah, so if someone comes up to senior high school and say, I'm torn between this D1 and this JUCO, and I'd lay it out like how I lay it out right now, where if you want to go get better and really focus on baseball, it'd probably be JUCO.
Another thing about your JUCO days, you ended up playing in a tournament your second year in JUCO where Bryce Harper was in that tournament. The wind was blowing out a little bit. I think Bryce might have hit 14, but AJ might have hit about 12 home runs in that tournament.
I think I got it in that year, actually. Or he might have got me by one. It was close. But I'm surprised you knew that stat, first of all.
Dude, I know everything.
Yeah. I mean, we were wood bats all year, and then we get to, the regionals, in Lamar, the wind was blowing out with those metal bats, and that was the highlight. That was my peak at bat days, probably that week in Lamar.
Lamar, Colorado, which is not a big, huge town. They got some good baseball, but when you think about springtime in Colorado with the wind blowing out, man, and you with an aluminum bat and Bryce Harper with an aluminum bat, my God.
I mean, well, he was on Southern Nevada that year, and I think they had, shoot, I'll get this wrong, but I think they had like three guys in the top 5, top 10, maybe top 5 that year. Bryce Harper was obviously that year. And I think like a couple arms too. So I mean, they had a good team.
And AJ didn't pitch a whole lot at Texas Tech, nothing. At Central Arizona, 1 inning, but somehow you're sneaking away throwing bullpens for people because they like that arm from third base. And they said, let's put this AJ guy up on the mound and see if he can chuck it.
I mean, this is probably the first time I've revealed that information in the public, other than my dad. But yeah, well, that was it. It was either we see you projecting as a pitcher, not, and if you want to.
Well, that's so crazy to me, because how can they see you projected as a pitcher when they've never even seen you pitch? Like, what? How does that even happen?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that. It was basically, you got a good arm. Well, we see you as a pitcher. I mean, probably saying you're not gonna hit enough
Yeah,
without saying it. But yeah, at that point, it was my third year of college, really, after Tech, and I wasn't, fired up about, keep going to college, and I mean, that's a whole other thing too. But I would, as my dad would say, as anyone would say, I think getting into pro ball sooner rather than later. So if it was, we want you to pitch, we're going to take you as a pitcher. Let's go get started. So that's kind of where.
Plus, that arm's fresh. It doesn't have 200 innings of abuse in college, and they know it's strong enough. And that's the thing about scouting. You can look at a guy's body, you can look at his arm strength, and you can see that, man, maybe if we put him up on the mound, we got something here. And that's what they did with you, and it's worked out really well, because here you are, 34 years old, still every year trying to figure out another place to go and pitch and to make a paycheck doing it. So I love it. I want to encourage you to keep doing it as long as you can. And let's talk about how you developed as a pitcher, because now it's okay. I'm not only throwing hard, but I got to figure out these grips, this 2-seam, this 4-seam. I'm going to throw a cutter. I'm going to throw a fucking changeup. I might have to throw a hammer. And along the way, things change.
Yeah, I mean, you could ask you guys, Zach, ask some of the buddies, at Vista with me. I'd always mess around. Hitters want to be pitchers want to be hitters type thing. Changeup, that's my pitch. It's been my pitch since, I got drafted. That was the easiest thing for me, which usually is the opposite for guys that have been
Everyone,
throwing. Um,
everyone.
I always, it was easy for me to, get inside of the ball. If you wanted me to throw like a slider, I had no chance at the time. So it was hard for me to develop a breaking ball for sure. I remember starts coming up and low A, high A, double A when I was starting, where I'd throw 100 pitches and I might throw 4 breaking balls. It was fastball changeup, and I'd get through 6 innings. So then it kind of got to the point where, two good pitch guy, might be better off in the bullpen. And, I had a good run with Pittsburgh doing that, and still didn't even really, I had to show me breaking ball for the most part. Even now, I'm still trying to figure out how to throw a good breaking ball, but the game's changed. You know that. Now it's all about the sweep, the ride. I couldn't even throw a sweeper right now if I tried. So
I'll tell you
just
that changeup is always going to be an equalizer. And AJ, you're 10 miles an hour off of your changeup and your fastball. That's what guys go for, and they can never do it. I could never do it. I always threw it too hard. It was like a gift to the hitter because it was just enough off my fastball for them to square it up. It was a gift. I never could get 10 off. And the
I
fact that you've been able to do that and command that, that's the equalizer. That's what keeps you in the game.
I would know that's probably the pitch that got me to the big leagues or kept me around for a little bit. And I have a hard time even trying to tell them. I can show you the grip. I can do what I can, but it's almost hard to try to. People, you want to slow it down. It's like you have to find your own way of slowing it down without slowing your arm down. It's kind of, I have a tough time trying to relay a message like that to a younger kid too.
And what grip do you throw? Do you throw the circle change or
Yeah, I wish I had the ball. I had a circle, but I mean, I get pretty far apart, so it almost comes out
almost
that
like a
way.
split?
Off split. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I have the circle there and the kind of like a split, um, everyone everyone has their own grips, and it's going to move. It's the like you said, it's the add and subtract that is the equalizer part of it.
Yeah, because
Uh,
if you can be at bat speed and then below it and not show it, that's the thing. And you were really good at throwing that change up and it looking like a fastball.
the easiest way to tell people now is you slow it down with your lower half, not your upper half. I think is an easier way to describe it. Kind of, you're still exploding, still have the arm speed, but you're kind of like just slowing, like that back leg is stuck in concrete. Is the easiest way to explain it.
I love that that's, been your go-to out pitch and what's really gotten you to the majors and kept you there. Because I think the changeup is the best pitch in baseball. It's the most underrated pitch. And, kids nowadays, as soon as they turn 11, 12, they all want to go straight to the freaking curveball. And most of them never even really learn how to throw a changeup. And it's just such a shame because it's to me it's so much harder to hit because a curveball you can pick up a lot of times. You see the spin and it's much easier to pick up, where a changeup just looks the exact same and then more than likely just kind of dies at the end. Plus, if you mastered the changeup, you've already got 2 pitches, then you got a curve or slider, sweep or whatever. Now you got 3 good pitches rather than 2.
Sorry. Yeah, there's something in my throat.
You're good.
No, I would go back to what you said. Start with the changeups. I mean, like you said, it's a harder one to figure out for sure. I'm losing track of my thought here. Um,
No worries. I'll give you a recap.
yeah, start over.
Drink some water, get your voice back. No worries at all. No, I was just saying that. Yeah, I think that the changeup is the most underrated pitch in baseball. It's one of the best pitches, and kids are so quick. They want to throw the sexy curveball right when they're 12 years old. They never even learn the changeup. Then they've only got two pitches. And, I think it's even easier to pick up a curveball or breaking ball than it is a changeup because it just looks the same. And it's so frustrating when you're sitting there thinking fastball, 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 and it's just you're way in front or it dives right at the end. You're just like, fuck.
Even now, coming up, it was always, breaking balls against righties, change up against lefties. And I think something that opened up a lot of doors was, if that's your best pitch, fucking
Throw
throw
it
it.
to righties.
Yeah. And, it's dive under bats. And now guys are throwing changeups that are moving like crazy at, low 90s. And
I know. It's nuts what we're seeing now. And another thing, AJ, the way the guys are pulling the ball out of their glove, there's a lot of these peggers now. Like it's a short arm action now. Whereas, it used to be pitchers had more of a long arm action. And there's a guy, Dave Malpass. He's an assistant GM of the Guardians. And he was Long Beach State's infield guy. And he was explaining to me this whole neutral grip when you pull out. And it's so much different than what I learned and what most pitchers learned up until now. Now it's the short arm peg thing.
there was that little movement. Everyone, who was like the first one, like Joe Kelly, I think he kind of, and then Giolito, another one, whereas, stay short. And I would say, I don't care if you're long or short as long as you're on time. From a personal standpoint, I was always kind of long. I was always a little stabby. And it wasn't the long arm that got me hurt. I think it was more just being late with it. So I'll tell a kid, it's different for everyone, whatever, feels better for whoever. But whether you're long or short, you got to be on time is kind of what I learned going through some injuries and stuff.
Yeah, and the timing and the body mechanics and how everything comes together and the importance of hip rotational speed. I wish I would have known about that when I was coming up. I would have trained my hips so much more. I would have done box jumps and broad jumps so much more than I did because it just wasn't part of the training or the science of pitching back then.
I mean, there was no training or science, even for us coming up. We just go play. And yeah, like you said, there's so much more into it now. These like specialty programs and yeah, exactly. Moving. You look at like Garrett Cole, who I played with, and it looks like he does nothing, and it comes out at 100. And then you see guys that are all over the place at 100, and it's like, what does he do to make it look so effortless? I mean, obviously, some guys are just more gifted than others, but it does come down. I mean, it comes down to arm speed, but there's a lot of other stuff now that you can train. And I'm learning this now at like the back end of my career, that stuff we never used to work on.
Well, AJ, I'm going to play my first game since I played with your dad in the 45 and over World Series 14 years ago this winter in Australia. So I'm in the process of doing some training myself. It's only one game, but at 58, man, it's hard to keep it all together. And your dad, I know he still straps it on.
Oh, well, I don't know if he has. I think might have taken the year to this year. But when he does strap it on, he's back to 20 years old.
Yeah.
And he's going to be injured if he keeps that up. But I mean, no, he's a lifer, and he loves the game.
Yeah. Me and him had that conversation. Neither one of us had baseball in our background. Like, we didn't have parents involved. We didn't have brothers involved. But somehow that baseball blood ended up in us, and it's never got out of us. And we passed it on to our kids. And, it's just something that you either have or you don't. Will's got it for some weird reason. But, AJ, one of the things we want to do when we come, we're going to go to a break. It's kind of a generic break, but we're going to come back and talk more about. I want to tell the numbers. Man, you had great numbers while you're up in the big leagues. Those are fucking stay there numbers. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about this Baseball United and the opportunity that it's given guys like yourself to still play, maybe make a comeback to the big leagues, but also just guys that slip through the cracks from other countries are going to have a chance to play in this really cool league. So we're going to talk about that when we go back. We're with Andrew, John, AJ Schugel, and Will Kiger, Wrecking Yard Will. Don't go away. We're coming back.